Welcome back to Monkey Business. We're back, season 2. It's been a while, but we're back, bigger and better than ever. Um, well, yeah, I guess the diet's not going so well. All right, we're back with our triumvirate. I'm Umvirate 1. Umvirate 2 is Carter. Umvirate 3 is Will. How are you doing,
Uh,
guys?
It's good to be
Surviving,
back
man.
in a little bit.
Yeah. Mostly because Warren, you oversleep, or you want to play League of
Well, no,
Legends.
more like undersleep. Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
gonna
running
lie,
on.
I have been the
He
one to
has
reach out the past 4 times, and
it,
it was
it,
shot down every single time.
shut up. You're the most busy of all of us. I'm
Brother,
not
man,
blaming you
if
or
you
anything,
if
but
you didn't do on Thursday
you're the
nights,
one that is
sheesh.
always saying can't do it, can't do it, can't do it.
All right, but fair warning,
Me
I
and
am
Warren
running
are
on like
a
three
lot more
hours of
available
sleep.
than you.
So if
Okay.
anyone has too boring of like a monologue at any point, I may start snoozing. So
We got
yeah,
the workout
keep the
addict and the self-inflicted insomniac over here, and I'm the one who just wants to play
Goes to
volleyball once a
volleyball.
week. I want to play volleyball once a week, and you guys
turns
are
out
like,
to be the
oh,
one
terrible. Guess
time.
we're gonna have to
Yep.
wait a month to record now. Unbelievable.
You're the one who keeps posting this naked Cillian Murphy or something in the group chat.
Shot of the year right there. Let me tell you.
Whip out the awards. It's beautiful.
On a different note, things that are
No.
not so beautiful. Two very embarrassing things happened to me today. Well, two very embarrassing realizations, I should say. First, turns out, did you guys know that August is not the ninth month of the year?
Yes, it's my birthday month.
I got summoned for jury duty. This whole time, I thought that it was next week. I got the months mixed up. It's not until next month. It's
Oh,
still
I
a
thought
whole
I
other
thought you
month.
missed it. I was like,
No. That would have been really
You,
bad.
you didn't show up at the courthouse or anything, did you?
Well, I didn't, but
Okay, good.
also, okay, the other thing. So a few days ago, I kind of like tweaked my hamstring and I was gonna get frozen vegetables to ice it. So went to the grocery store with the sole purpose of buying frozen vegetables, right? Well, I got distracted by a really good deal on Sunny D and ended up buying a bunch of things at Sunny D. Checked out, drove out of the parking lot. Then I got on the road. I realized, oh no, I forgot the frozen vegetables. I had to turn around, go back in the grocery store, and check out with just 2 bags of frozen peas. Oh, very worn moment.
Warren, you live in a different universe, don't you, bud?
So yeah, how was your day, Ben?
Woke up, went to church, got brunch with David and Eliza and Daniel. Uh and one of David's friends, her name's Juliana, and then came home, did some stuff, a little Bible study action, then went to my actual Bible study, came back and talking to you. Numb nuts for the rest of the evening, I guess.
Anything quite so adventurous, Carter?
Not really.
All right, well, speaking of adventurous, are you ready for a brand new surprise segment called Monkey Headlines?
I think a man fell into the river in Lego City, but I
That
got him
didn't quite
out.
make the cut today. We only strive for the most important headlines here on Monkey Headlines. All right, are you guys ready? I'm just gonna read off a few headlines and you can give me your reactions, what you think. All right, ready? Loose monkey rescued inside Malaysia airport.
It's actual monkey stuff.
I'll have to
Amazing.
send you the video, but well, only the first one. But this monkey was like, there was some sort of like metal lattice in the airport, and it was like 3 stories up or something, and they had to have people like, I don't know how they got it down, but yeah, that was our monkey hero of the day. How about this one? Man uses forehead to smash walnuts. Claim rivals world record. Marshall Naveen Kumar, martial artist from India, recaptured his Guinness World Record from his longtime rival by smashing 273 walnuts with his forehead in 1 minute. Turns
It
out
is it one
there's,
at a time or can he do multiple?
I believe it's one of, well, actually, I'm not sure, but apparently there are like these two feuding world record enthusiasts. And yeah, I'm curious what some of the other world records are going for are because if you're stooping that low, there've got to be some pretty crazy world records you're going after. I know this one you probably saw. Post Malone bought the Magic the Gathering, the One Ring card for what was it, like 2 million or something?
Yeah, I did see that. It made it made
Carter's
the
not
front
impressed.
page of BBC. I
Did it
also went,
actually?
yeah, it did.
Well,
Dang.
it was because it's like a.
Maybe I'm the dork.
I don't understand how it works. Well, you probably know this better, but it was like a one of one. There's like they only printed
I'd
one.
never heard of
It's
this
like
card
first edition or
before.
something.
I'd never even heard of it. I know some of the old Magic stuff that's worth a lot of money, but I'd never heard of this card before in my life. So I was like, wow, that sounds
Well,
kind of dumb,
I
but
think it's pretty
hey,
new because they
dude,
had
good
like
for
a
him.
they
Who
had some
cares?
sort of thing with Lord of the Rings where they made like a bunch of Lord of the Rings Magic cards, and this was like the rarest one, I think.
Yeah.
All right. How about emu captured after 2 weeks on the loose in Indiana? Meanwhile, residents around the area are posting pictures of the emu on Facebook for 2 weeks, random spots around the county before it was finally caught. Oh, Maryland woman blasts a world record breaking 107 decibel burp. Willie the Texas rodeo goat on the lam for weeks has been found safe. Massachusetts siblings find bear swimming in their pool.
I think I heard about that one actually.
Another Maryland headline. Maryland's really in the news these days. Escaped cows cross county line in Maryland, evade capture. And I believe they still have not been caught. Sunbathing pig causes highway backup in New Zealand. And our final headline of the week. Chief Uno player wanted as toy company Mattel offers 5-figure sum for 1 month's work. You should buy, Will. You look excited about that one. That would be
Yeah.
pretty great, though. Supposedly they're like debuting some new Uno type game, and they're trying to get, I don't know, some sort of social media engagement or something. All right, that has been this week's Monkey Headlines. And now, back to our regularly
Thanks for
scheduled
sharing,
programming.
man. That was
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So, Will, what are we here to talk about today?
We're gonna talk about what was it? Across the Spider-Verse, I believe. The new or the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, which came out, what is it, like 5 or 6 years ago now, I want to say.
There's no way it was that long ago.
It's
It
been
was 2018, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man, it feels like it's 2 years ago.
With Miles
Yeah, it
Morales,
does.
my personal favorite iteration of Spider-Man, because he's the one that I grew up with, as opposed to like my dad with Peter Parker and stuff like that. So I'm really glad they did the first movie justice, and I'm very interested to talk about your guys' thoughts, takeaways from this second part, really.
Okay, wait a second. Hang on. You grew up with? I thought the character wasn't introduced until you were like an adult.
Young adult, I think, is really when I started reading comic books. And so
Okay,
Peter
okay.
Parker was kind of, he was like the owner of Oscorp and like a bunch of other things that was just, he was super adulty and it was just weird. And then I started reading, I think it was like Jason Reynolds' version of Miles Morales, and that was really good. And I didn't go to the stinking author meet when he was in Howard County. And I
Uh,
had the chance to staff it as a volunteer, so I 100% could have met him and gotten like one of the signed Miles Morales books and stuff like that. It's definitely one of the things I kick myself for. So, Jason Reynolds, man.
have you read the original Brian Michael Bendis run?
I read a little bit of it, and then
Okay.
I do like seeing Miles Morales when he comes into play with some of the younger people inside of
Was it the Ultimates?
the Marvel. Yeah, I think he's been with like the Ultimates, the Runaways, and he's done stuff with like Kamala Khan as well. I can probably be roasted by everybody who knows a lot more than me about it, but it's really it's really cool, and I think his writing is really good.
Also, I think sometimes I think you're older than you are. So
I'm
that
27, bro.
timeline.
I'm old enough, man.
So clarify for me, when was Miles Morales introduced as a character? Because I thought he's been around for like 20 years or so. Is that not true?
I want to say 2011, but
Okay, wow.
that's just
So
off the top of my head. I have no idea. I'm gonna
very
check.
recent.
August
Uh,
2011.
yeah. So
Dang.
like, yeah, right around when I was getting into that would have hit me at freshman year in high
Wow,
school. So
man,
yeah,
how did I remember that? Wow.
well done,
Sometimes I
Ryan.
surprise myself,
So yeah, it kind of
but I
fits
can't
my
remember
timeline
Frozen
perfectly
peas.
because he was in high school and I was, and it was a very relatable character
Dang, yeah. So that was like
as
a big
opposed
event
to
for you guys kind of like
Yeah.
a new Spider-Man popping up?
I think I read it.
Yeah, dude, he was sick,
Yeah, I
man.
didn't
Like
read
Yeah,
it
he
till
had
sure.
like a couple years after it came out, but yeah, it was
he had a
pretty big.
bunch of new like abilities and stuff like that, and he was really just discovering being Spider-Man again. Whereas you can't do a Peter Parker origin story in the comics at all anymore. Um,
Well,
not really.
they still do.
Sure, but you don't really need to, right? Which is one thing I really enjoyed about the first Spider-Verse movie, right? Is it's just like, let's get this over with real quick, fun, 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 blah, blah, blah. Well, it does great. But Miles is that new character, who's one of the more recent additions to the Marvel universe as a whole.
Yeah, great comics history, great character, and some, well, I say great movies. I don't know if we're. Let's give the spoiler warning now. Should we give the spoiler warning now?
Sure. Spoiler warning for Across the Spider-Verse, everyone. Highly recommend that you go watch this movie because it's chock full of a lot of plot in this one, a lot of setup. Season 2 begins now. Welcome to season 2 of Monkey Business. This is a big movie, so we decided that we should we should call it. We should say season 1 has ended with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and season 2 begins with Across the Spider-Verse. It's been officially a little bit over a year now since we started, so we're now
Woo-hoo!
in our second year, we're now in our second season. Spoiler warning.
Big pat on the back.
Well done, us.
Eh.
Done.
Done.
Us.
Uh, well, so we're not too abstruse. How about we start with this? Who's your favorite character? Nice and simple off the bat.
Bilbo Baggins tends to be up there for me as like a whole
And this
of,
movie
of
will.
all time. Oh, all right. Sassy.
I like Gwen. We'll get into it, but I think Spider-Gwen is probably my favorite.
Okay. How about you, Will?
Dude, I don't.
It's hard to choose because there are a
It,
lot of
Gwen's
great
it kind of
characters.
really
is,
good,
yeah.
but Miles and Gwen together really cater off of each other. I think it's really definitely safe to say this movie has two main characters.
Yeah, they're a great
Yeah.
job. I'll give you
And
that.
it's
We'll
like
get to that
Oh,
later. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
I don't think these main characters can kind of be topped by anyone in the cast. I do think that the movie does a really good job of that, of keeping them the center focal point of all the action, of all the plot devices, of all the tension, and of just like any potential solution or any potential disaster thoroughly revolves around both of them. If I have to pick so really they are both top tier.
You do have to.
I'm not going to, Warren. But the side characters, like with the side Spider-Men,
Wow.
I like old Peter Parker is still
Ben Riley.
he's just a funny dude,
He
man.
really
And he's
is.
got the kid and everything. And at the end when the baby pulls down the hood, dude, I love it. And just all the quick lines of he's like, well, he can't be that bad. He's like, I taught him that, right? Um I think that seeing that trio really front and center throughout a good amount of the movie, and then Miles and Gwen for 90% of the film really was great. I missed some of the other characters from the first one, like a little bit more. John Mulaney might have been a little bit funny, but I
No
thought they
Nicolas
balanced
Cage.
everything really well. And the evolution of the Spot is really good, as well as some stuff with Miles' dad felt a little too slow sometimes, but I think it was like for an all-around really good movie, it would be one of the slowest parts is where he's interacting with his parents. Because so much other stuff is, dealing on the multiverse level in a really well done fashion, in my opinion, as well. And then what's his face? Miguel O'Hara.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, is a great antagonist for the film as well. Even pregnant motorcycle mom is fun. And Indian Spider-Man, great as well.
So this may sound a little weird, but I thought about it for a little while, and it's tough to choose one. I agree, because there are a lot of great characters, but I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably go for Miguel O'Hara.
Really?
He's a real no nonsense, real go getter.
That's totally
He's a
unlike
fun
you, though.
character.
You know? Gun to my head, I'm with Carter though, and picking Gwen. like have to pick one. Gwen,
You don't have to pick one though. They work as a duo. It's a
but like
duo. It's hard
yeah,
to say one will work without the other too, you
but
know?
it's like I think Gwen's relationship with her dad was
Yeah.
great.
Actually,
So
Carter,
well
if you
done,
want
man.
if you want a fancier word instead of duo, duunverate or dudunverate, something like that. It's like a triumvirate, but two. I think it's duunverate. They're a great duunverate.
A duumvirate.
Yeah,
Tag
file that
team.
one away. File that one away for useless. So should we give like a slight synopsis, a brief overview of the main events so that we
Go
have
for it, Warren. Yeah.
how about we just pinball it? I'll start us and then we
That's a great
popcorn
idea.
summary.
We should. That's a fantastic idea.
Okay.
Should be doing that more often.
This will fail spectacularly, but let's go for it.
All
So we
right.
actually start out with, instead of Miles Morales, we start out with Gwen and her universe. I'll just jump to she's fighting what's his name? The Leonardo da Vinci guy. The I don't
The
remember.
Vulture.
The Vulture
Yeah.
from like a weird universe.
Vulture from the Renaissance.
Yeah, he's like slipped through from another universe, and Gwen tries to fight him, and then she's like kind of doing okay, and then Miguel
It,
O'Hara and Jessica Drew show up.
it should be also noted that this is very much a direct sequel to the first
Yes.
movie. There's not a lot of time that's passed. I think they say like 6 months, 3 months, something
No,
like
it's like
that.
a year or
Is it
Yeah, it's a
more.
actually?
while.
I think they say it's a year or more because it starts with Gwen kind of like very, very distant from like everyone in her own universe because feels she feels alone. She feels disconnected from Miles because she hasn't been able to talk to him for reasons that are later revealed.
Well,
And
yeah, but she lost her Peter Parker in her universe prior to the events of the first movie, though.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
But just kind of the struggle of being a superhero and, well, a whole bunch of struggles that she's going through. And
yeah.
Miles is kind of the only one who really understands what she's going through. And since
hmm
she hasn't been able to talk to him for however many months it's been, we start with her and it's really kind of lonely struggle to start. But anyways, Gwen, Miguel, and Jess all they end up taking down the Vulture. And then there's a scene where Gwen's dad holds her at gunpoint, and then she takes off the mask and reveals that she's been Spider-Woman the whole time all along. And there's a really kind of tragic scene there.
That's not at the beginning of the film, though.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
much
Yeah, it
later.
is.
No, because her dad's in a different universe. They take down the Vulture inside of Miles's universe.
No, it's in Gwen's
No,
universe.
they don't, Will. The opening
You
15
sure?
minutes or so is in
Man,
Gwen's universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
The opening 15 minutes is just it centers around Gwen. And before she fights the Vulture, there's a long discussion with her and her dad that's really well done. But it kind of sets up that he's still looking for Spider-Woman. He's the
he
typical
believes
New York
that.
City cop that's trying to, work with the police force and try to bring down Spider-Man,
Well,
like is common across
yeah.
most universes.
So the thing though with that is, I guess the real quick complicated version is that Gwen's dad saw Gwen as Spider-Woman over the dead body of Peter Parker. After Peter Parker had taken some drug and they had to fight or whatever, and he dies in the conflict. And as a result, the dad believes, kind of like Miles in the first movie, where his dad thought he killed his uncle. Gwen's dad believes he killed Gwen's best friend, who was Peter Parker. And really, it was just unfortunate what happened between everything as a result of criminal masterminds at large.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she was there
So
trying to save him and got caught at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
yes, which
But
leads.
that was a flashback, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it happened before the events of the first movie. But all this
Yes.
leads Gwen's dad to believe that Spider-Woman is responsible for murdering Peter Parker. And so that leads to the scene after they fight the Vulture.
Oh, wait. Sorry. My favorite character is Hobie. Completely forgot.
He's a
Okay.
good
Yeah.
one.
Continue.
Cool. That leads to the scene where Gwen takes her mask off to reveal who she is to her dad. And they have another bit of discussion there about stuff. And then essentially Miguel gives her the choice to come with them, with him and Jessica Drew. Cut to credits.
All right, well, what happens after that?
Then we go to Miles' universe,
Yep.
and he's kind of just feeling a little bit lonely, a little bit obsessive over Gwen as well. Enjoys drawing pictures of her in his journal. Um, and currently he is, I believe, trying to get to a party for his dad, and he's failing wonderfully. Because he's supposed to deliver some cakes, and they get all messed up on the way over. But
Eventually
Gwen's
that happens.
back.
Yeah, but we meet the Spot first,
Oh yeah,
right?
dude, this movie happened 2 months ago. I
Yeah. This recap
don't
is
really
more for
remember
us,
it.
I guess,
Yeah.
than for
It's
anyone
hard to remember
listening.
the linearity of
More
what
for
comes
me,
first.
Carter. More for me. Okay, so yeah, we meet like a Dalmatian looking guy, no ears,
The
but
rookie
like,
Spot.
and he's called the Spot. And basically, what happened to him was he was transformed by the anomaly, or Kingpin's machine from the first movie when everything went berserk at the final end. He absorbed all that extra dimensional power, and currently he's just using for petty crime. He will evolve a little on screen, but mostly through just snippets here and there of discovering that his power is a lot more versatile than he thought. And because Spider-Man took everything from him, like he lost his job, he lost his family because he has no face to interact with. He's just a walking anomaly that can go from dimension to dimension and cause chaos. Really can't be caught because he can just slip away at the drop of a hat. Um, and yeah, it's a really interesting antagonist that is mostly set up for the third movie. And the main antagonist of this film is going to be Miguel O'Hara.
Well, yeah, essentially. I do want to point out the Spot. It's really cool how they introduce him as like sort of this D-level villain who can't even figure out how to rob an ATM machine, and he just keeps tripping over himself at this little like convenience store ATM. But it's really cool how through both visually and through like the audio mixing, how he kind of levels up from this, kind of laughably terrible villain at the beginning to an actually sort of terrifying villain by the end. And it's both sort of visually and also, I don't know exactly how the audio mixing works, but there's just such a cacophony of like deeper bass, and yeah, he sounds a lot scarier and looks a lot scarier by the end. And it's really cool how he evolves through the film.
You were a big fan of that, weren't you, Will? How he started weak, and you thought that he got more and more intimidating as it went along.
It might have been why I mentioned it in my brief synopsis of how he started out as a petty criminal and then moved
Yeah.
on to like a multi-verse threat. Yeah. Yeah. So
All
You
right,
were
so
very
Carter,
yeah.
enthusiastic about it. So, like,
Oh
what
no,
we talked about
I
before.
am,
That's what I was
yeah.
wondering. That's what I
Well,
was asking.
that's
Okay.
why I said it in my synopsis about
Okay.
the Spot.
so Carter, what happens next?
After that, he does go to his dad's party, and this is where Gwen comes to his universe finally, and they catch up, swing around a bit, and after they talk, she heads out while Miles talks to his mom about certain things, and Gwen is kind of snooping around because the reason she's there is to find the Spot who was in Miles' universe. She ends up finding where he was and collecting evidence of something, then opens a portal to go back to, I guess, O'Hara's universe. And unbeknownst to her, Miles has been following her. And so Miles, because he can turn invisible and all that, follows her through the portal and enters. No, no, no. Then they go to the Indian universe, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So Miles is officially going through the multiverse himself for the first time.
Also, it should be pointed out that the character, the Spot, was actually in the first movie. They actually have Miles like throws a bagel back at the like lab guys chasing them.
Yeah.
That scene is actually in the first movie. It's pretty great. All right, so what happens next? They team up with what is his name, Pavitier or something?
Paviter.
Yeah, yeah. And then the three of them track down. There's some anomaly they're chasing, right? Oh, but they're chasing the Spot, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they chase the Spot. I don't believe they end up catching him, but in the process, while
No,
they're
no,
there,
the Spot's never caught in the
yeah,
film.
while they're there, Miles ends up saving the police captain, which turns out to be a bigger deal than we think at the time. And then eventually reinforcements arrive and they all go back to Spider HQ.
Because, well, and essentially it should be noted that this is where we learn what the big deal about everything is. And it's the fact that when Spider-Man go from universe to universe, their current main goal is to make sure that the future happens as planned. And that's the responsibility of the people with knowledge of certain events, is to ensure that they happen. It's not to save people who shouldn't be saved, even if they could be saved. It is to, without with care and with love, but with duty first and foremost, to ensure the future occurs as it's been planned. Because if the future doesn't occur as been planned, universes can collapse. And that's where we learn about Miguel and why he cares so much about Miles, is because he doesn't want more anomalies to happen. Should I go into that, you think?
Yeah.
So Miles, the reason Miles is a Spider-Man is because of an anomaly. One of the first experience with like the trans-dimensional door machine that was being used
The
was
Collider.
that the collider. Thank you. Yeah. The collider dropped the spider through. And the spider that bit Miles is from a different universe. So now there's a universe out there without a Spider-Man, and that can have drastic consequences and will have drastic consequences, because now Miles's universe has two Spider-Men. So he is the first thing to ever be an anomaly. And Miguel O'Hara's entire job is to make sure that anomalies don't happen. So at their core being, they are against each other, because Miguel, when he found out how to skip from universe to universe, he tried to
Save his daughter, right?
Yeah.
He tried to save his daughter and get his family back,
And he ended up,
destroying an entire
yeah,
universe as a result. And he's like the daughter vanishes in front of his eyes and stuff like that, and he's the only thing left because he's the only thing not from that universe. And it really kind of sets up the power that the Spot has in order to erase universes, the power that Miguel knows can accidentally come about from good intentions, which is the destruction of trillions, and Miles and Gwen's gung-ho attitude in order to save as many people as possible, and then to fight against the consequences that may occur, including just universe-threatening black holes in the middle of them. So it's like one guy who's new to crime, one guy who knows how bad the crime can be, and two people who are only ever going to fight for a solution that they believe to be right.
I think that was a cogent explanation of the anomaly situation. Miguel has I guess, very hands-on experience with how devastating
Killing trillions of people,
trying
yeah,
to mess with
accidentally.
these, well, they call them canon events, but these so-called like things that are supposed to happen, that if you mess with them, it can be catastrophic and destroy entire universes. So that's where
Mhm.
Miguel's coming from. He's essentially trying to enforce that these things that are quote unquote supposed to happen actually happen.
Mhm.
And by, like you were saying, in his view, Miles is one of these things that wasn't supposed to happen. So that's a pretty big head-to-head clash just by their state of being.
Yeah. Is there anything really else to kind of go over that sets up every single principle of the film?
Well,
Pretty
Oh,
technically,
the
much,
there's
I
a.
ending,
think.
I
Yeah.
guess. The ending.
I was going to say there's also a principal at his school, so it doesn't set up every principal.
Warren, seeing as that is just a word that sounds like principle but is not spelled the same, your joke is unfunny.
But because you said it, you didn't write it. It still
Also,
applies.
she's not the principal. She's just the guidance counselor trying to help with college admittance.
True,
So,
true. But there is a principal at the school
Thank you,
somewhere.
well, I'm
Carter.
sure
I
there is a
thank you that you
principal
have
at the
points that
school.
help me.
So it didn't set up every principal.
Currently I have a friend who their head principal was fired, so they do not have a principal. So not every school has a
True,
principal.
true.
And it
Oh,
is something that they are happy about. So I guess the other final thing is the ending of the movie. which kind of reveals to us that Miles, in order to get away from Miguel, because they all travel to this big hub of Spider-Man. It's where everybody kind of goes to, update each other and help out each other for missions. Well, they have a machine, and this machine is designed to track where the Spider-Man comes from and send them back to their universes after they've gotten to this hub dimension place, right? Well, Miles uses it to try to escape O'Hara because he's being tracked down because he's the anomaly, and Miguel wants to get rid of him. He gets in the machine, and he tells the machine to send him home. And the machine scans his Spider-Man DNA. And it doesn't send him to the universe with his parents. It sends him to the universe that spider that bit him came from. So everybody kind of goes back to Miles's parents' place to kind of figure out, okay, we gotta save Miles, protect him and stand up for what's right. But he's not there. And so then they figure out they have to go to the other universe where there should have been a Spider-Man. And that's where we learn that Miles Morales' alter ego in this film is actually the Prowler, and his uncle's still alive. And cut to black, ready for the third film. It's really fun. I love the Prowler introduction sound, that high long screech kind of. It's a great villain soundbite. So I'm someone who loves open-ended endings. I love cliffhangers. I think they do so much for imagination and to just build a universe, especially when they're done right. So like I really loved the ending of Dune, right? I stinking love. Oh, dude, yeah, it's like,
Did you?
Yeah.
All you say
No,
is,
I saw.
it's an asterisk. There's an
I'm-
asterisk.
I'm pretty convinced we're just trying to bring
Nah,
up Dune
dude,
as much as
I
you can.
saw Dune like 4 times in theaters.
But there's
Oh,
an
we've
asterisk.
heard.
There's an asterisk, right?
Yeah, it's Dune Part 1, asterisk. It's not Dune. Dune, it's dasterisk, Dunesterisk.
10 out of 10, right? But there's an asterisk.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
sensing two
that's what you're
disparate
referring
themes
to.
here.
Yeah,
Heads.
no. Yeah, no. Oh no, I loved it. But will I completely love Dune? Well, there's an asterisk next to that. You never know. Gotta figure it out. And Dune and Tune is coming soon.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready for Dune. Have you guys heard about Dune? I hope you've heard about Dune. Carter, are you excited for Dune?
Very much so.
I know you are. I can see it in your eyes.
Should be Dune asterisk asterisk.
How do you think? 'Cause I think it movie did it really well, and we'll kind of get into why. But I'll open the floor up to you guys first. But for a movie with a very large cast, how well do you guys think the film did of managing everybody's screen time, managing everybody's decisions, backstories? Did anything feel like a MacGuffin to you? Did anything feel forced, or overall good pacing for how long it was? Thoughts?
Great, fantastic. Good pacing. I didn't think any single cast member took away too much from it or was just like too center of the focus. I think the ensemble worked really well. But as you said already, it really does focus on the duo or whatever other word Warren wants me to use that I've forgotten
The
of Miles and
duumvirate.
Gwen. Yeah, sure. But what I want to say, I forgot, I was going to say this. This is one of the most like inclusive and diverse films from recent memory. Like for great reasons, absolutely, obviously. And like so many different ways of life and different cultures are respected here, and it feels natural and real because it comes from like it it comes from a place of genuine care and like the filmmakers trying to actually represent it well and not just pander and make money. That being said, there's no Asians in this movie, bro.
There's
It is
no
so
Asians.
funny. The
None.
just
I
I've
thought I
been
said that at the end of the
waiting and
film as
waiting. I
well.
don't think you had.
Didn't
That's why I've
I?
been waiting for you
Okay.
to comment on this because you're
Nope.
always
Yeah.
outraged about this.
No,
This
I'm not
cracks
outraged.
me
It's just
up.
always funny. Like
It
there's
is.
always representation. There's no stinking Asians. Like
Yup.
ever. It's it's always funny to me. It's like nothing. All right, dude. Yeah, no,
Makes me
I
laugh.
did notice it, but I think I was kind of drawn into the movie where it didn't bother me too much because I still in like the back of my mind, there's gonna be an Asian Spider-Man in there. Um, sure, but like, oh no, there is. It's what's her face, with the robot spider. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're wrong, Carter. Get out of here. She's Japanese.
Oh, from
She's
the
from the
first
first
one.
movie,
Yeah, yeah,
and she's
yeah.
in
She's
the
in this
second
one
movie.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's in the
She's in this
second
one.
movie
She
at the
has
very
one
end at
line.
the team up.
Yeah. She's anime, so it doesn't really count, you know?
That's fair. I might give that to you. However, representation. Now, if you wanted to get like no Hawaiian
Representation
Spider-Mans, yeah,
via anime. Okay.
I didn't mind it. So,
Okay, cool.
but like, yeah, it is funny how there's a lot of representation. A lot of times it's like no Asians. It's like, okay, sure. And that's why the Barbie movie's so good. And we'll get to that at another date with Simu Liu, my boy, looking great. Um, but yeah, I do like the fact that you kind of, because all of the Spider-Man are so distinct and they're all wearing a Spider-Man outfit, but it's their own version of the outfit. I think that also really helps nail down which character is which. The voice acting is all, in my opinion, really, really good.
Stellar.
Mhm.
They give a lot of a lot of individuality to each and every Spider-Man, and even like the ones in the background are great. There are call outs to games, call outs to old comics, call outs to like different costumes and everything. Like even Donald Glover just pops in for a second. It's hilarious.
Fun fact. Did you know that when Miles' roommate is playing the Spider-Man game, that's actually the as of yet unreleased Spider-Man 2.
It's not the PS4 Spider-Man game.
No, it's the one that's
I
coming
thought it
out
was
later this
it's
year.
the one, so it's an advertisement for the new one.
Yep. Gotta get that
Very clever.
gotta get that advertising in there.
You know what, Warren? That was a fun fact. Thank you.
No problem. I live for fun facts.
All right, Warren, what do you think about like the cast, the ensemble, just pacing over all of the film? Just super generic
Yeah, I
thoughts.
thought it was great. They had a lot of characters who, I mean, obviously, when you have that many characters, you can only have so much screen time. But especially at Spider HQ, I thought they did a great job of, they had like dozens and dozens of different characters, each one having their own little, 5 to 10 second moment. As far as the main characters, definitely some characters had more screen time than others, but I thought they did a great job of balancing which characters needed screen time more.
Yeah, it does a great job of merging the individual and the collective, I think, making every character stand out in their own way as an individual and yet all bringing them to the spider party, the spider hub, whatever you want to call it in O'Hara's universe.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that go into that, but I think one of the big things is a lot of these characters, even just the art style, is almost like a carbon copy from these characters' different comic histories. Like Spider-Gwen's universe, it's like, like the neon pastel watercolor type art style. And that's exactly what her original comic run is like. And when they're explaining Miguel O'Hara's backstory, there's like a flashback sequence. And I don't know if those are actual panels it shows from the original comic run or if they're just like recreations with the same art style. But I mean, so much attention to detail in so many places, but that's one of my favorites.
I did find some of the characters I think to be a little forgettable. But maybe it's because they aren't getting screen time in this film. Uh it was the two Spider-Men that Miguel O'Hara picked out for like the final mission to go hunt down Miles or something. I think one of the one was like the jean jacket Spider-Man or something
Oh wait,
from
no,
like one
that's
of the
Ben
games or
Riley. I got
something.
Ben Riley and Peter B. Parker mixed up.
Yeah, I was wondering why you said that earlier.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
because okay, one of the guys you're talking about was Ben Riley. I forget
Yeah,
who the other
and
one
the other
was.
is Jessica Drew on the motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Kind
not
of,
not not them. Like the
it's kind
flat
of O'Hara's
like
right-hand woman.
Wait, who are you talking about
I'm
then?
talking about like he's I think he's a video game Spider-Man. Like the last two people that Miguel takes with him because everybody else is ditched to go save Miles. Dude, I
His ditch to
swear.
go save Miles.
Yeah,
That
because they're
Miguel O'Hara takes with.
yeah. So Miguel is hunting down Gwen because Gwen wants to go save Miles in the other universe,
Yeah,
not the one with his parents. And then
And you're
Miguel,
asking who he takes with him?
yeah,
The tooth?
it's not
It's
Jessica.
it is. It's Jessica Drew.
Will's really exacerbating confusion today.
You all are free to converse as well.
Well, see, I would, but
We're just
okay,
waiting for
so
you to prove
my
yourself wrong.
my mic stand is broken, and so I duct taped it into place, and I thought I had fixed it, but the duct tape is it's gonna need another layer of duct tape. It's falling apart. Here I was about to sing the praises of duct tape. All right, well, while Will is looking that up and proving Carter correct, Carter, what do you think about how much work do you think went into the art for this movie?
I mean, thousands of hours, obviously. Not sure
At
exactly what you're
least.
asking. Yeah.
I think maybe the best way, especially for people who may have not seen it, maybe the best way to describe it is you could stop the movie at any frame and it's going to look like a painting.
Yeah,
There's not going to be like blur motion or anything like that.
literally every single frame is, uh, dare I say, perfect. Like you could take any single frame of this film and
Dare
stick it
he
in
say?
a museum. Like it's that good. You could hang it up in the Louvre.
I mean, even though that's a bit of hyperbole, you're not wrong. There are so many absolutely beautiful shots in this movie.
Yeah, it is insane how good it looks.
Everything from the color scheme to the art styles to
Yeah,
the different
yeah.
animation techniques. There's so much.
'Cause, yeah, it's so much, but despite how much of an assault on the senses it is, like there are still like so
Okay,
many
maybe
shots.
maybe don't phrase it like that.
Well, like there are so many shots and so many moments that really stick out, and there's like such that are standout moments, which is like it's crazy. It's almost
Yeah,
unthinkable that they've achieved this because of how it's constantly, slamming you with so much like, so much like just incredibly made beauty. And despite that, there are still moments that push the wow factor to the next level.
and every time you start to get used to a location, an art style, a color palette, it all changes, and you have like the next little bit. It's all completely different, different animation styles, different everything.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. Not that it like
Yeah,
moves too fast or anything. Like you get comfortable and you feel something and you fully explore something, I think, before it goes to the next one.
it's just impossible
But it
to
never gets boring. Yeah.
it's impossible to miss how much work was put into so many different aspects of it.
Because it's impossible to take it all in on first watch.
True.
Yeah. Warren, you seen this twice or three times?
I don't even remember anymore.
Okay. What about you, Will? You saw this
Which part?
once?
Only once, yeah. Of
Okay. Are you still looking for that?
course I am.
I, I can literally pull up the movie right now, probably, and just say, "Oh, look, I'm right."
Carter, you should support actual legal things, but okay.
Producer's note: what Carter is referring to is clearly a joke, and not meant to be taken seriously.
Well, we don't have so much time in the Zoom meeting.
Well, Will's being as quixotic as ever.
Yep.
Carter,
Yeah.
I did want to point that one scene of Miles and Gwen where they're on like that tower and they go upside down and you have
Yep.
the city skyline upside down in the background. Oh, that was so cool.
Uh-huh.
And then it
And the
zooms
camera
out.
just kind of turns with Gwen as she kind of like
Yeah,
rotates around. It's just it, man, I said it with the first one when the first one came out. I don't know if I said it to you guys, but it's been a claim of mine that Into the Spider-Verse just proves that like literally every single superhero movie should be animated, and I absolutely believe that. And this one just takes that to a whole nother level. I legit you can just accomplish things with animation that you can't do with live action. And CGI has come a long way, and there's some great uses of it. But I like it doesn't matter if you're James Cameron. Like you can't create a world with a blue screen or a green screen that you can with a pencil and paper, and that's just incredible to me.
all right. Well, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
No,
on
I'm not
that.
pumping the brakes on there. I believe
I-
it. I'll die on the hill. Every
Okay,
superhero
I
movie should
will.
be animated.
I will grant you, even though I strongly disagree with that take, how you phrased it. I do think that animation lets you stay closer to the comics original format,
Wait,
and
wait,
it's
wait a
better
second.
at
Wait a second.
that.
Real quick. Pencil and paper. This movie was hand drawn and animated, Carter.
No, no, it's in a, you know,
So it was
See, Carter's
so it was
already
done
walking it
using
back.
a computer.
they probably storyboarded it though.
Oh, 100%.
I doubt,
Well, and speaking of, if jumping back to that scene on the tower real quick, I believe that tower is the same tower that Gwen Stacy falls and dies from in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Another cool fun fact.
is
A
it a
bit of
tower in New York?
whiplash.
And that's where she gives her speech about it never ends well for Gwen.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I've seen that movie, but I'm pretty sure it's the same
Well,
tower.
it's in Across the Spider-Verse where she gives her
Oh,
speech
you mean in
about
this one? Yes,
in
yes,
every
yes.
universe Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy falls for not for Miles, for Spider-Man, she say? I don't know, something
I
like that.
think so. Every universe that goes wrong. Okay, this is a bit random, but did
Go
you
for
guys, was it just me, or did you guys think that the machine at Spider HQ, the like big giant spider that weaves the cocoon around
Yeah.
the target it's trying to send back to this universe, that thing was pretty scary looking. They did a really good job of, even though it's supposed to be this, sort of benevolent force to quote unquote fix the multiverse or whatever. That thing was so ominous, so terrifying.
It's not a benevolent force. It's just
Well, that's how it's
a
originally portrayed by
machine.
Miguel O'Hara. And that's theoretically what it should be. But since we're kind of seeing it from Miles' perspective, that thing is really scary looking.
Well, I think this is definitely a much better version where when you're changing from a picture medium that is comic books into a moving picture medium that is film, I think that this one was definitely a wise call away from the comic books, because inside of the comics, it's literally just a big spider, and that's what controls the universes. So yeah,
Spiders are creepy, bro. Spiders are ominous.
um,
Especially when they're larger than
Giant
you.
spiders.
yeah,
She-Lob.
Yeah.
this one's like stinking huge, and it creates like the web, right? And so I agree with this mechanical decision. I thought it was really well executed, but I just thought it was neat. I didn't think it was creepy. It's a tool. Tools are made to be used for crime.
Bit of a juxtaposition opinions there. So one of the things, well, you're saying that Spider-Punk, what's his name, is your favorite character?
Hobie.
Yeah. So
Hobie Doyle?
Hobie Doyle.
They're
he
communists
looks
too.
like wildly different than everything in the setting he's in. Like every surrounding he's in, he always looks way different than everyone else and the world that he's in. Apparently, so everything in the world and the characters are operating on some sort of like frame rate. So, it's a certain number of refreshes per frames or something like that. And Spider-Punk, his essentially he has more frames per second than every other character. And so he just looks so different because he literally
He's just moving faster.
yeah.
According to the eye.
The what?
According to a human eye.
Oh,
I guess.
oh.
Or just
Yeah.
that's how an eye, takes in information.
So we're talking about the Eye of Sauron, or what's going on here?
It's pretty cool though. Also, he's more like it does look more papery and less like it was made in a computer. Obviously, it was made in a computer, but
He's a 2D character in a 3D world.
yeah, 2D. Actually, that's what I was trying to say. Yep, he's a little British. He's got a little guitar.
Yeah.
I just thought the guitar riffs he did were sick. So I really wasn't going for his FPS or anything, but whatever you say, boss, I'll believe
His
it.
FPS is just a metaphor for capitalism.
They should have hand drawn this movie instead.
What do you think of apparently all the Lego Spider-Man scenes were animated by some 14-year-old kid?
I
They
saw
probably
that.
didn't pay him either.
It's pretty nuts.
The Lego scenes were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And hey, good on that kid for getting a contract with a $2 million movie. Or they just ripped his stuff off of YouTube in a competition or something.
Okay, so I do have a question for you guys. At what point did you realize that Miles was not in his universe at the end?
As soon as he was teleported away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shut up.
No, get out of here, dude. They stressed it a lot. And it's like, it sends you back to the universe you're supposed to be from. And it's like, yeah, he's not the spider. They stressed that point in the beginning. I pay attention when I watch
All
movies,
right. Well,
man.
Will is clearly lying.
Okay.
How about you, Carter?
Dude, why? Oh my
Um,
gosh.
when Uncle Aaron walked in, no, not when Uncle Aaron walked in, because he said it was like no, it was like I'm trying to remember what happens.
I think the big reveal is like his mom goes, "Who's Spider-Man?" and then Uncle Aaron walks
Yeah,
in, something like that.
it was when his mom said, "Who's Spider-Man?" That's
Yeah.
when obviously I was like, "Oh, okay," because he got bit by the wrong
Mhm.
spider.
Like they stressed at the
That's
beginning of the movie.
I know, but it was a good little bait and switch that the movie
I'm
used.
not saying it
Okay,
was
they sent him
bad. I'm
away and like
just
he's
saying
safe and he
it was
swings in
supposed to happen.
and he
Like
gives an
it's like
Well,
emotional speech to his mom.
for some context, like the way they intercut Gwen's scenes with Miles' scenes here, it was really well done.
Again, it's very well edited to try to
Yeah.
deceive the audience, and I was deceived for a second.
So they show
So,
like Miles doing something, and then Gwen is like rushing over to Miles' house, and
mhm.
then she goes in the window, and then eventually she like he's not there, and then she realizes that he's in a different universe. Anyways, well, that's not right. That explanation didn't do it justice, but it's very well done. Um, there were actually a bunch of little things that I didn't pick up. I picked up on a couple things, but I didn't really piece it all together till probably after I should have. But the teleporter itself, it says Earth 42 when it was pretty quick, but when it was teleporting him, so that was like the original dead giveaway. But also apparently in the other universe, Miles' mom has different color eyes, and then she questions his hair. I think that's when I realized it was when she asked about like his hair, and then when he said something about Miles like asked her something about his dad, and she like kind of reacted a little strangely.
Yeah.
And then he like told her that he was Spider-Man, and then she was like, "Wait, what? Who's Spider-Man?" And then
Mhm.
that's when it really hit.
Yeah.
But it was a
Yeah.
cool,
Same exact thing for me. But yeah,
yeah, it was,
it's quite the cliffhanger.
it was quite fun to hear like half the audience go and just start going, "Whoa!" Some really great theater moments. I think possibly my favorite moment was when it ended with the "to be continued" dot dot dot.
And everyone like it
Several
just
people in the theater going, "No!"
erupts, dude. The entire theater erupts, and
I
like
was
people were like,
amazed that I didn't
"No
think
way!"
that spoiled or anything. Like I had no idea it was going to be a two-part film, and that was a spectacular ending.
Well,
I, I it,
I don't. I mean, you knew there was going to be a third film. I don't think
I didn't.
there was
I
anything
had
about
no idea.
it being connected
you
this
thought this
much.
was good. You thought it was gonna. I mean, like during the
Yeah.
20-minute like epilogue kind of thing where they're kind of revving it down, you didn't
Yeah,
say
that's when it started to realize.
you weren't like like I was like waiting for the cliffhanger. I thought like when like I was like okay, I thought it was going to end on the shot where Miguel O'Hara was standing by the welcome sign. Then I thought it
I
was going to end by
Yeah,
Uncle
low
Aaron
key.
entering, and then I was
Nah.
like, oh, when he talks to the Prowler, it was going to end, and then
hmm
it, it does go on a little bit. That being said, like it is a perfect cliffhanger with it there's like eight of them, kind of the whole team's kind of assembled after that, after she gets Peter B. Parker and all the other friends from this one and the last one, and she gives her little monologue of I never found the right band to join. So made my own one
Well,
in. Very, very cool. And it zooms in, it's the close up of her, which is kind of mirrors the cut to the opening credits before the cut to the closing credits, two similar shots. Great
good point.
cliffhanger.
So I'm gonna say, yeah, no, I didn't think there was gonna be a third film at all.
What do
No,
you
no,
think,
no.
it's gonna be like a 6 hour
Let me
movie?
explain. Let
Wait,
me
you
explain.
didn't hear
Let
the
me
news about the
You don't
third
like
one?
you don't like look at like things
Okay,
let
that like
me
just to clarify real quick.
explain.
Okay, so
Dude,
I agree
no,
with Kurt.
Lauren,
Yeah,
let
no,
me
once you're
explain.
in the film, you
Let me
realize.
explain.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, thank you. Dude, okay.
asterisk.
I'm going to bring this back to the editing. It's really well done. It moves really well. I really did lose track of time. Had no idea the movie was as long as it was going through it. I was ready to sit there for like another hour and a half. Like I really didn't know. I was like, what? It's over now? I thought we were just chugging. I thought we were halfway through and we're gonna keep going. Like I knew a lot had happened, but I didn't think it was the amount of time that it was. So I totally expected them to fulfill that cliffhanger. And then when it was over, I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I have been here for a long time. So it for me, it really goes back to just how much I enjoyed it and how well like it was done. Like I loved the action, I loved the set pieces, I loved how much you got to know every character, their motivation for everything. I loved Gwen's. As soon as Gwen started giving like the speech, I was like, this is an end of film kind of speech. But no, I really, really was captivated by the whole movie the whole time. And so I did not think that the entire duration of the film had gone through. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, he's here and we're going to go get him and then we'll get him and fulfill it and we'll stop it. But nah, I seriously, that's why I didn't think there'd be a part three. Because for the most of the time, I was just having a blast.
Well, to clarify, there's a difference between like a part two slash part three and another film in the trilogy. So I knew there was going to be a third movie beyond the Spider-Verse, but I didn't know like how connected two and three were going to be. But then, like you're saying, Carter, as the movie itself goes on, like you didn't
Yeah.
know heading into it. But as the movie starts to wane and there are all these unresolved things, that's when you start to realize, like, yeah, this isn't going to get
Oh,
resolved
so
until the
you
next
guys
Well,
movie.
can
I'm
realize that there's going to be
I'm in the same
a
exact boat as
cliffhanger and a part three.
I'm in the same
I
exact
can't
boat.
realize that he's going to go to a different multiverse.
I'm in the
Oh
same
my
exact boat
gosh.
as Warren. But
That
like
doesn't happen
it was
often.
like 2 months after the first one in 2018 that they announced this was going to be a trilogy. And so I've had that
Yeah.
in the back of my mind the whole time.
I don't pay
That's what
attention to news like that.
okay,
I'm
but
just I go to movies
okay.
to
It's just
enjoy them, not
two
follow them like a
totally different
sports
statements.
team.
It's okay, bro. We're not ostracizing you.
Goodness
I know.
gracious. Yes, you are.
You enjoy them with an
Just a bit.
asterisk, Will.
I enjoy them with much more passion and enthusiasm than you guys do. Because man, I'm easy to entertain.
Okay, so I've got a quick challenge for you guys, or a quick
Okay.
question. If you want to don your high school English thinking caps back on for a moment and harken back to, the days of the good old plot outlines, what would you guys say was the climax of this film? If, your classic literary plot mountain plot outline, because I think this actually leads to another interesting point.
The train climb.
I would agree.
Really? It oh, that train climb. Sorry, for some reason I was thinking about the India scene. Okay, are you talking about and the train climb in the
In
Yeah, I
New
know. That's
York.
why
Yep.
that's why I said I was being an idiot. But like, it's the one inside of the hub world, right?
Yes.
Spider HQ or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider HQ, yeah.
I I would agree, but I wouldn't exactly call the rest of the film falling action.
Exactly. But it
Like,
is
I,
with an asterisk. So I think this is where it gets really interesting, and why I think one of the reasons why I think the film works so well. If you're looking at it just in terms of like this movie by itself, its own plot outline, then I think Gwen's actually the main character in that regard. Because Miles, like the plot surrounding Miles' storyline and the struggles and the conflicts that he's going through, those don't get resolved. So those aren't until next movie. So in terms of this film, I think Gwen's actually the main character.
Yeah, I'd agree. And yeah, her her arc is resolved
Yeah.
at towards the end when she goes back to
You have the
her
starting
own
through
universe and then
start
she
and
talks to
finish.
her dad again.
Yeah.
Yeah, parallel to the first 15 minutes. So good. Yeah, this one is a lot about parenthood because Miles has struggles with his parents that they talk about. His don't really get resolved, but Gwen's do with her dad. It was a really yeah, because it's a really heartbreaking scene in the opening, and it's a really touching scene at the end where they just talk it out and they just express that, they have differences, but they still love each other, and that they don't understand each other's line of work as much as they wish that they did, but they're still there for each other. It was really cool.
Yeah. And then to cap it all off, you kind of have the denouement of Gwen assembling the team to go save Miles, and that's
Yeah.
so pretty much everything after the train scene is falling action for Gwen, but not for Miles, if that makes sense. And I actually
Yep.
think that's a fantastic way to have one of these two-part movies, because one of the big problems they often have is because so much of it is set up in unresolved conflict that it really feels like a part one and it doesn't feel like its own movie. But this one really did because of Gwen's storyline.
Yeah,
Because
that's
even though,
very true. That's a
yeah, even though all there's so much setup for Miles and his conflicts and what he's going through, you still have a perfectly self-contained, really emotional start, rising action, conflict, climax, falling action, resolution. It's pretty great.
yeah, it is great. It's a great point, Warren. It's really well. Good eye, good pickup. I guess that's why Gwen was my favorite character coming out of this, because she's the one with the arc.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but Hobie's got a guitar. That's kind of cool.
That's true. And a healthy disdain for capitalism, perhaps.
He's Carter for real.
Artist's favorite guy.
Do you think that, because Warren, we talked kind of, I guess, joked about this a little bit with me on one side and you on the other, of do you think that it is taboo to take the success that this animation style has seen and apply it to another film?
In what regard?
Taboo?
Yeah. So like how this is it's made to look like a comic book. It's made to feel like you're watching a comic book unfold before you. Is it not appropriate to take this style, almost carbon copy, but simply just put different source material behind it?
You mean like derivative?
I have no idea.
I think I get the gist of what you're trying to ask.
Because well, essentially, you
Is
were
it
like,
cultural appropriation?
No. So I'm asking Warren because Warren was like, "Oh, I don't want to see the TMNT movie because it copies this style, and that's dumb."
Wait, what? I never
Yes,
said that.
you
No,
said
I
that to
literally
me
have not. I have never
verbatim.
said anything.
Will, you
about
make up
Teenage
stuff
Mutant
all the
Turtles
time.
in my life.
I
that to
stand
me.
with Warren here.
You said that to me. You're like,
This
"I'm
is
not seeing that."
completely in
I
your
was like,
head.
no, it wasn't, Warren. Hand on heart, when we're before God, I'm right, you're wrong. Trust me. This was your way.
This is
I'm not seeing
complete
that.
fabrication.
It is not, Warren. You're just caught in the act and you changed your mind at the last second. Get out of here.
Okay, but to answer your somewhat convoluted question,
That's fair.
in theory, using any sort of, I mean, there are a lot of takeaways that you can use in other projects from this, but you have to be aware that so much work went into this. I mean, like years and years of planning and work from, I mean, a ton of people. So many man hours went into this. You can't just be like, oh, we're going to copy their formula and, put something out in 3 months, because that's usually, well, not 3 months, but a lot of projects like that start with great intentions, but then people aren't willing to put in the work that it takes to pull off something like this. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think I answered this question, but I'll say that no, absolutely. It's a good thing that other movies are trying to, I won't say copy, but try to imitate the style, because I don't think they're doing it because it's cheap and it will turn a quick profit, because it's obviously very difficult compared to other film animation styles. I think they're doing it because they love the look of it and they think that it's really cool and really interesting to animate movies this way. So I think that it's awesome that more movies are becoming like this.
And it's sort of opening the door. Animation's becoming a lot more popular.
Yeah, yeah, kind of because of these two movies, which is great. Isn't TMNT based on a comic book too?
Yeah.
What were they originally? Yeah. So like, what you got?
No, I don't have a problem with it. Warren did.
You just got a
No,
problem with
I
Warren.
did not. I never
You
said
did, Warren.
anything to you.
You also avoided answering my question, so it's okay.
Making stuff up might be your superpower. You might have to join the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I don't think I'm a teenager, brother. I think
True.
that ship has sailed.
Hey, but you could be like the equivalent of two teenagers, age-wise.
Yeah, I could.
If y'all would like to see the Ninja Turtles movie, though, I'm down. Just let me know.
I've literally
I've heard
been
it's really
touting it
good.
since day one.
You've been what?
I've been touting it.
You have not.
Yes, I
This
have.
is the first I've heard
You
all
have.
about it.
This is the third. This is the second time I've heard of it. The first
You're
time was over
delusional right
Discord.
now.
Okay.
Well, it's because you guys don't go golfing with me. So how am I supposed to talk to you guys about all this
Yeah, I'm not
fun
gonna go to the
stuff?
driving range with you and Daniel. I'm sorry, but let's go
Y'all
golf.
missing out.
Okay, I'll go for it. Feel free to roll your eyes and I'll go ahead. But I think this is, as far as like a big, a giant corporate studio superhero movie is gonna get, I think this is pretty fairly anti-Marvel. Not anti-Marvel. I think it's anti-MCU a little bit. I think it's saying and especially combining this one and with the first one and the new style that they're bringing forth and
Style
showing
isn't
with the audience.
Just can you expand on that for me?
Um, just how unique they are and how different. Because for the past 10 years or so, Marvel, and the MCU has been giving us the same thing over and over again. With it's very repetitive and there's very little ingenuity happening there. And the Spider-Verse movies, they very much feel like they're trying to force their own path. And doing it on a, I think it's using the story to do that on a subtextual level. Because Miles says stuff like, I'm going to do my own thing, and everyone keeps telling me how my story's supposed to go and stuff like that. And I think it's it's trying to blaze a trail. It's trying to get others to follow. And audiences are eating this up, man. This is like, this is, a cultural phenomenon when it came out. And I think that's really cool. And like, no Marvel movie has had this much popularity since Endgame. I think Endgame and Infinity War, and I guess maybe the first Avengers, like,
Well, to be
and
clear, Guardians 3 just outgrossed it. If
Yeah,
you're talking about
I was
popularity,
checking the
you already,
gross
you already
real
kind of lost
quick.
that one.
Yeah, they lost by
well,
about
But
200
I
I'm
think
million.
you
sure
bring
I'm
up
sure
an
it's because of
interesting point.
worldwide box office. I didn't see like barely anyone talking about Guardians 3, and this has become
We talked
very
about
much a fan
Guardians 3.
favorite. I know,
No,
but I'm
I get your point.
saying
I get your
Guardians
point.
3 hasn't been getting a lot of hype, and this has become
Well, I don't know that I
a
agree with
this is
that. It got a good bit of hype in its day.
On your
yeah
Twitter thread,
for like a
yeah.
week on Twitter, yeah. But people are floored by this, and I think that's cool. I think it's deserving. Yeah, I think someone else pointed this out. It's not an original thought, but it's kind of funny, but it also kind of enforces the point. I think someone said the main villain of this, Miguel O'Hara, not the Spot. The main villain is he's a lore nerd. So
The what nerd?
he's a lore nerd. He's focused on the lore. He's focused on the canon events. He's constantly tracking everyone's stories and their lore to try to make sure that they, align and that they play out the way they're, supposed to, quote unquote, play out according to the comics and according to the MCU formulas and all that. And Miles is, our hero who's standing up against that, I think, and trying to say, maybe I can do both. Maybe I can save people, even though you tell me that I can't. It's essentially a story of, an old man child who's viewing a bunch of stories that aren't his own in order to pick up on certain details versus a kid whose relationship to being Spider-Man goes hand in hand with the struggles he has with his friends and his family. And I think that's pretty cool. Good little underdog story.
I wouldn't necessarily
Odd way
call
of
a
framing it,
$100
but
million
okay.
budget movie an underdog story, but
Okay.
I
I think it's
I
cool that
see
these
this some
movies are
point.
taking a
Yeah.
stand against the norm, is what I'm saying.
I don't know if it's
I don't think it's
I
taking a
don't think it,
stand.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
that you
just
go out to
good.
yeah. Like I don't think they came against it as let's do something that's really going to show Marvel what they're missing out on. Although this is what Sony has over all of Disney, which I think is hilarious.
Kind of is.
Uh, and like how much money they have to pay to show Spider-Man and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic. Big Sony W. But I think that in order to create really memorable and really good storylines, you don't try to fight against
The
sometimes you do.
story.
No, no, no. Okay, so the problem is sometimes you fight against what's normal in order to create something that's unique, right? But maybe it's just like a vibe thing, and I'm glad you took that away from this. It's really cool because it's another way to interpret the film, of course. It's another
Hmm.
lens with which to view it.
That's not my main interpretation of it, but
No, it's just
something I
one.
noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't think that they really went out of their way to really stick it to the man with Marvel. I think they just wanted it's like they looked at a lot of flaws that happened about how to create bigger and bigger threats, how to escalate conflict in comic book movies, and they did it
And
really
comics.
well. Yeah, because like a lot of times this stuff in comics can get kind of crazy, right? Just
Hmm.
crisis events. Like Final Crisis is confusing and awful. Flashpoint is a little bit better. I'm not too familiar with the Marvel resets and stuff like that. I know that there's like Civil Wars and stuff like that.
Oh, you have the whole Spider-Verse event.
Yeah, Spider-Verse event, I guess, as well. And so it's just like these are a very comic booky concept. The whole rewrite idea is very cool because you have characters who get too powerful, you have characters who are too boring, you just want to refresh it to just say, oh, everything was rewritten. And I think they looked at that and they're like, what did they all do right and what did they all do wrong? And I don't think you can make a movie this good without being a lore nerd. Like you can't you can't look at all of the Spider-Man who are represented in it, all the
Wait,
characters who are backstories, all of this stuff. So it's like
I
the
thought Carter was calling Miguel O'Hara a lore nerd. I'm
I know,
confused.
yes, but I'm
Oh,
also saying you
okay.
can't
Yes,
make
exactly.
this
And Will's
film
trying to
with.
counter my point.
I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily countering it. I'm just saying you can't make these films without being lore nerds. Like you can't bring in someone who knows nothing about Spider-Man to say, "Oh, make a movie called Spider-Man."
That's what Spider-Man Lotus is for.
But I think it's when you get certain types of people on the job, and that's really where the character and the integrity behind how you approach subject matter really goes into. Because there are people who, when you talk to them about what they love, and they will really just kind of take you on this stock standard answer that's just flashcard after flashcard after flashcard of why they like this thing. And then there are other people who you talk about their hobbies and about their interests and about what they love, about something new that they're picking up, about family. And they really give you this, they build their own story that tells its own tale about their growth alongside of a certain thing. And as a librarian, I see this a lot where I cannot tell you how many people check out like self-help books and they check out all manner of like diet books and they check out gardening books or just how to raise your kids books, travel books galore. And some people really come back and they tell you that they went to that exact place to do this thing to to kind of live out for themselves a story that they saw on paper and they made it this fresh new reality in their life. And then other people take that and just kind of let it be what it is and never advance the concept beyond what's on the paper. And I think that's the type of person that worked on this movie that really helped direct this movie and storyboard this movie and write the screenplay was people who saw the original concepts of Spider-Man, saw the original concepts in comic books, but they didn't let them stay the way they were and they built on them. They're probably some of the nerdiest people out there about the whole things, but man, they love the rush of somebody else experiencing something for the first time, of experiencing uh just this new art form. Like Warren, you joked about putting it in the Louvre, but really, this movie is gorgeous. Like, yeah, that shot where they transition upside down is fantastic. I don't think it's as good as the first movie's upside down shot, which is goosebumps. Love it so much, with the soundtrack and everything. But I think when you put storytellers instead of lawyers behind a screenplay, you really can make magic happen.
I agree with that 100%. I think I might have phrased some things I was saying wrong, except for the lawyers aspect of it. I would say the problem with movie making is executives and marketers
Sorry, yeah,
trying to not.
that was phrased as a mind,
I
like
understand.
a
Yeah, no, I
legalistic
understand exactly
approach
what
to
you're trying to get
filmmaking,
across,
and
but
yeah,
it's not,
The
prosecutors,
suits.
defendants that make movies.
that's
But
fair.
yes, this is suits. Yes. Um, but yeah, I think it's like the people that are just trying to tell good stories and trying to get bring that experience to other people for the first time and try to truly share a passion of what they love with others through storytelling.
Mhm.
That's what this movie has. That's what this movie is, and I think it's all throughout. And I think absolutely wonderful to see something like that. I think it's that's what this is, and it's kind of fighting against when I said lore nerds, I really meant just people like that don't take away the right things from these films that are just not specifically these two films, but just movies in general that are trying just try to pick them apart and view them as puzzles rather than things that you just are supposed to feel.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with that
Okay.
100% as well.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And I think
Hmm.
Miguel O'Hara is kind of he's kind of trying to put the puzzle together. And I think Miles Morales is the one that's trying to inspire the audience.
Do you think that that is a takeaway that you have dwelt on or come to because of your desire to really delve into the movie world?
It's because of my desire to see better stories told and to see stories that are backed by passion and ingenuity, as I've said, instead of research, these like focus group type appeal to the as most people as possible to make as most money as possible kind of blockbuster wave that we've been in.
Would you agree to say that with a lot of the Marvel films, now I'll do my best phrase as well. It's like, would you agree that a lot of the Marvel films give the audience exactly what they want, but with films like this, there is a leap of faith with the entire cast, crew, and directors and producers and everything like that to present something that could be something they didn't know they wanted. Do you think that there is
It's
a
a good
gamble with
question.
this movie that people wouldn't like it?
Maybe. I think that's a possibility. And I think that it's always a risk because when you do try to make something original and inventive, there are always going to be people that don't like it, and it's always going to be a possibility that the majority of people don't like it. And I think it's important to have stories that are span all across that spectrum, even if it doesn't turn out, great, if it doesn't turn out this level. It's important to keep telling stories that are new and inventive and that touch on different subjects and themes and try to understand the world through a different way and that aren't just the same thing over and over again. I dig on Marvel a lot, but you can point to any blockbuster. I mean, like look at, like Rise of the Beasts from this year or like Indiana Jones or like Jurassic World from last year. And Marvel's got a bunch of stinkers too, but they all feel very similar. It's all the same thing. It's just movies made by research groups just trying to figure out what the audience wants. And it's not even giving them what exactly what they expect, I think. I think it's giving them less. And I think people just have become so numb that they don't really even realize it. And I think
I'm on
it's
board.
really, really good to go into a movie and say, I don't know whether or not I'm going to like this. I mean, I go into every movie hoping that it's going to become one of my favorites. I know that's not, obviously going to happen, but when I go into a giant blockbuster, like I really like 10 minutes in, there's always a sense of defeat that it's like I know exactly what's going to happen. I've seen this exact thing 1,000 times before, unfortunately. But stuff like this hopefully shows Hollywood that audiences really crave more, and hopefully it kind of changes things, shakes them up a little bit.
Well, I think I agree with your general point.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I think a lot of these blockbusters really have shown that that's where audience, I think pretty much everyone's on the same page that you're on. Because I mean, just look at Indiana Jones flopped. Pretty much all these movies that you're talking about that have been really bad have flopped. And so, I mean, even if you're trying to do what you're talking about, even that's a risk. And so sometimes it's not even that risky to take risks creatively. So everyone just
Mm.
wants to see good, fresh, new ideas being put out there and want good storytelling.
Yeah, and yeah, I
That's a
agree.
good point,
The
Warren.
flopping is kind of a larger issue, but I think yeah, go ahead and roll your eyes again. Oh, Carter talking about The Last Jedi, but I think studios are trying to really avoid a Last Jedi experience and situation, and this has been something. way before 2018 when The Last Jedi came out, obviously. But that movie was hammered by audiences, and I think studios are terrified of that happening, and so they're just kind of diluting things down, diluting things down. And like I said, they want to give audiences just a good little safe experience, and they don't want to challenge them. They want them to come out and it's never going to be memorable experience, but they don't care. They say as long as
What
we
do you
get
mean
enough people to
by
see it, we can break even, make a little bit of profit, and then keep going with the next one. Make another safe movie, and the audiences they get exactly what they come for, really, but as I said, I think that they are getting even less, and they're just unaware of it.
so what do you mean by a Last Jedi experience? Like for the audience and for myself as well.
So they gave and look, I'll defend that movie, forever, but there's very valid criticisms of it. But they gave Rian Johnson a lot more freedom than literally any director has since on a large budget movie like that. And and it's the Star Wars fandom, and they're like top three worst fandoms of all time, and so they just dragged it through the mud because eh, of multiple reasons. Some good, some very, very stupid. And it
Back to
Disney,
J.J. Abrams.
yeah, they go back to, their puppet J.J. Abrams because they freaked out. They said, "Oh man, this can't happen again. We have to perfectly satisfy our audience every time. We can't take storytelling risks. We can't it's better to make everything slightly below mediocre than to have some stuff that's really, really bad and some stuff that's really, really great." Because when you do take risks and you give people more freedom, that's what's going to happen.
But I don't think that's a good example because that movie was
No?
horrible and didn't it flop?
Last Jedi?
No, no, I mean the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Carter's talking
it,
about
it didn't.
Last Jedi,
I
but
mean, it flopped compared to the first two, but it made
Yeah.
quite
Well,
a
I
lot of
mean,
money.
yeah, flop
yes,
is a
but
relative term for that film, to be
But
yes,
completely
yeah.
honest.
all movies have in relative terms been flopping. All large, blockbuster movies of the sort, and all the ones that feel very muted, I think, and they're just kind of scraping by because they're just kind of following the formula, and they're only being allowed to stretch themselves so far as the studios allow. I think Rise of Skywalker is a bit of a crazy example, but I think The Last Jedi affected a lot more than just than its direct sequel. I think in terms of how much freedom studios give their writers.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for the ninth one because that was met with even worse reception. So I think maybe they didn't learn the
Yeah,
lesson, but the lesson was there.
but but Rise of Skywalker was made in the same likeness as most blockbusters are being made nowadays, and Last Jedi was very much not. That's the point I'm trying to get across, I guess.
I think it's hard. Well, I understand your point, but I think
Even
it's
though
hard
both got critically trashed.
it's hard to compare Rise of Skywalker to anything because
Yeah.
it's hard for anything to be that bad. I think we're getting a little off track here, though.
I think we've gotten very off
That might
track
be a
here now.
larger discussion for another time.
I think the larger discussions are some of our best talks, personally. But
Yeah. I think this is a great episode, Will. I don't know why you think this is a terrible episode. I think we had a
no,
slow
I'd say it was a
start because
little, yeah.
we were bouncing around the
And
popcorn
then we already
recap.
started, and then we started talking about movies
Then
as
we
a
started talking about the
whole.
movie and it got good.
Exactly.
That's what we do in the podcast, yeah.
I mean,
We're
on that
rough till
note,
we're
Do you guys
not.
know they caught a monkey in a Malaysian airport?
no, they
They
saved the
saved a
monkey.
monkey in a Malaysian airport.
Thanks,
Happy.
Malaysia. Very cool.
Well, on that note, should we move to the ratings?
Sure.
Good with me.
Carter, you want to start since you're so
Sure. I'm very interested in seeing what you guys have to say. But
indefatigable there?
um
Do you have an asterisk with your rating?
no asterisks, but yeah, I'm psyched for Beyond the Spider-Verse, obviously. But I think this is a great ending, a great cliffhanger. Um, great insight on Gwen's situation at Arc, Warren. Her parallels at the beginning and the end are so well done. Loved all her character work in this. As I said, every frame is a work of art. And yeah, this thing is just amazing. I cannot recommend it enough. It absolutely rips. It's really cool to see an audience, like audience as a whole. I mean, not our particular theater audience, but it's good to see widespread love for a movie like this, even though, it's a superhero movie, it's a big blockbuster, but it's challenging some things, I think. It's trying to tell a great story. It's trying to really touch some hearts. And it's just pure pop culture. You should all just watch it as fast as you can. I'm sure most of you have. 9 out of 10 for me. Puss in Boots better.
Also, Carter, there's no reason to throw shade at the theater audience that you're with. It was a canon event. All right, Will.
So I think Carter's always been a stickler. But that's okay.
Yeah, you tell
Because
him.
this movie is definitely higher than a 9. It's really well done. And I mean like really, really well done. And as far as I will reveal to my fellow gentlemen here, it unfortunately doesn't, as of right now, as far as you are aware,
Is there
unseat my
asterisk?
favorite movie of the year, and which is Polite Society, which I believe I gave a 10 out of 10. But this film is also very good. But it doesn't have that final oomph for me for that 10, but it is right on the cusp. And I know some of you guys feel different ways about like the 0.5s and stuff like that, but I do want to give it a 9.5. It's really right there for me. It's so good. Really, really good. But I do think that Place I just sits at this for me personally, just one tier above.
I mean,
And
you
I
can
wouldn't
give
put them
multiple
in the
movies
same.
10s if you want.
Yeah,
Not
but I
against the
don't believe
rules.
Yeah.
like I would put maybe I'd put like Polite Society 11 and then this at a 10.
Okay,
But
okay. No, 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 no.
exactly, Warren. Exactly. So let me do what I want.
No, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Like he said in the movie.
You go ahead and you diss me for not giving it a 10. I don't do 0.5. Sorry, it's just not.
Yeah, because you don't
You know,
believe in, being honest. It's
Wait, he
that
does
being
give point fives
honest.
because
I
he
yeah,
mean,
uses
man.
letterboxed. Got him.
Oh, thank you, Warren. I love you.
huh? No, it's a 9 out
Yeah.
of 10.
Yes, that's 3.5 or 4.5
Can't
stars.
do math. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Okay, I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. You gotta cut me some slack.
Which
Yeah.
3?
All right.
Really,
Well,
which 3?
Yeah, which 3 hours did you sleep?
this movie was incredible for a lot of reasons. But I think one of my favorite parts was just the parallels between like the relationship between Gwen and her dad and Miles and Miguel, which sounds a little strange, but essentially if you think about it, Gwen's dad at the beginning feels that he's, for lack of a better word, like failed as a father. And so he falls back on the one thing he's good at, which is being the police captain. And so that becomes like when he's holding his daughter at gunpoint, that kind of becomes his driving motivation because he thinks he's pretty much completely failed as a father because he thinks that Spider-Man is this horrible person. Whereas on the other, like on the flip side, parallel, Miguel, when you see his backstory, he's almost in the same boat where he feels he's failed as not just a father, but also essentially as his universe's Spider-Man. And so he falls back on the one thing he's good at, which is, leading this spider task force to try to stop anomalies from happening, like happened to him. So there's a really cool parallel there. But I think the biggest emotional beat that really worked for me was Gwen trying to push her father away the whole movie because she knows that he's going to die. And the only way that she can reconcile that quandary with herself is to essentially, push him away and almost act like she hates him. But then just that the moment when he resigns and she realizes that it's no longer inevitable that he's going to die, just the sheer emotion of that reunion was awesome. But so many awesome parts of this movie. Easily best movie of the year. 10 out of 10.
No way. Really?
That's right, Carter. You're the stickler.
No, I'm just so amazed that Warren gives a 10 to something. That's absolutely unreal.
One of
That's
the best movies I've
so
ever seen.
cool. That's so cool.
Definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Dang. That's like
Yeah.
the second time I've been surprised someone's given it a 10 in like 3 episodes. That is awesome. That's awesome.
What was the other 10 given out?
You to Plate Society.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
very
fair.
cool. But yeah, I mean,
When's the last time you gave a 10 to a movie, Carter? What was it?
just
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
just hold on to that thought, Will.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know it's
Little
Barbie, but like,
tease right there.
no, like, didn't you give one out like a few episodes ago to something?
I mean, probably. I give a decent amount
Yeah,
out.
but not to this amazing movie, apparently.
What have we done?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, I do have one quick
Asterisk?
question for you here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, your ratings may have spoiled a little bit, but we don't know how the third one's going to turn out. But do you think it's on pace to be one of the best trilogies of all time? Or you could narrow it to superhero trilogies, however you want to view
How'd you
it.
narrow it to superhero trilogies?
I mean, narrowing it to
That's one
superhero
thing.
trilogies is an
It's
obvious,
like
yeah.
easy win. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
But
Dude.
yeah, I mean, I would say it's absolutely.
It's got to be up
actually.
there, I think, because
Yeah.
the first two were so good.
What would I put? What would I put above it?
Because not many trilogies are really good for all three movies.
Yeah.
Which obviously we don't know what the third one will
So
be
it's
like yet,
it's
but
going to be hinging on this last one. But
yeah.
Let's see. What else would I
Yeah.
have? I've got Kung Fu Panda, got The Lord of the Rings, the original Star Wars.
What are other good trilogies?
Warren with the Guardians movies, probably.
No, because
No, he
I
doesn't like
think
the
the
first
second
two.
one is
He doesn't like the
terrible
second
and
one.
the first one is
Oh, my bad.
first one's good, but it's not like amazing.
Ant-Man movies, Warren?
There are only two of them. They are both great though.
I thought there were three.
There were
Ant-Man,
three.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Ant-Man Quantumania.
Oh, you're right. Well, the third one's terrible. I already
God,
forgot
he
about
sold.
Yeah, I'd put Spider-Verse as far as that I've had a
Well,
movie. It's in
it.
top
Christopher
4.
Nolan Batman movies are pretty
Oh,
solid.
yeah. It says 5.
I'm not a fan of those at
That's
all.
fair.
But
The first one's
yeah.
good. Second one's very good. Third one's great.
First
Quick
one's
synopsis.
good. Second one's amazing. Third one's good. Great, amazing, good. I can't think of anything else, but yeah, I'd put this in my top 10 because I can only come up with 5
Top 10 trilogies.
personal favorites. Yeah.
Carter, you like The Godfather, right? Where'd you put The Godfather trilogy?
Yeah, but I haven't seen the third one, so that's
Okay.
Oh, I've
that's
never
kind of
seen
an
The
asterisk
Godfather.
for
Can
me.
you explain it to me?
Sure, I'll talk through it the whole time for you. But trilogies. I like the
Indiana
original Indiana Jones
Jones,
trilogy a lot. Yep,
Bourne
Will said that.
trilogy.
Oh, the Bourne trilogy. I
The
love
Bourne
the Bourne
trilogy's-
trilogy.
Kind of weak for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
I
fair.
love the first one, but all the others don't click as much.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like they're fun, but I don't think
I
I'd
think
say they're
Supremacy
like
starts off
really
hot,
good.
but then I think Ultimatum is really good.
Fair.
It's been a while since I've seen those though.
But Identity is just slick.
Yeah, Identity is just the best in my opinion.
If I pick 3 Mission Impossible movies, I can do it.
Yeah, none of those really are a trilogy though. None of them
Yeah.
really
Pick the
blend.
3
They're
best
also
out of the 10.
distinct.
3, 4, 5. Boom.
It's because you haven't seen 6. The two others, I like Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy, and I like the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new one.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so those are also up there.
Is that the one with Andy Serkis?
Yeah. But also this one hasn't finished, this so if Beyond is
Yeah.
great, like this could, easily shoot up there. I mean, it's without a doubt one of my favorite trilogies. I mean, I can't with an asterisk.
I mean,
But,
as long as the third one's not like so bad
long as it
that
doesn't suck,
taints
yeah,
the other
it's-
ones.
Well, yeah,
then,
it's kinda like Kung Fu
it's already
Panda,
so
right?
I
good.
got it, yeah.
Like the
Exactly.
first 2 are great. Third one's like okay. But
Yeah. Speaking of that other question, what do you guys like more, this one or the first one we're into?
I like this one a little better. I
First
think I gave
one.
the first one a 9.
Okay.
I think I really, really like the Prowler. I mean both these movies do antagonists so well,
Yeah, we didn't even talk about music.
but I love
Yeah.
like
Just
that
going on and
Prowler
on.
soundtrack. As soon as I heard it in this movie, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's such a good sound. It's so eerie. It's so creepy. And it's like it's surrounding you with that just the I'm not gonna do it.
Are you talking
It's
about the
dumb.
score or the soundtrack or both?
The
Score.
Okay.
yeah, I
The
think the
Prowler
score.
theme
Yeah.
that follows
Okay.
him
All right,
around.
the soundtrack is also pretty fun, but the soundtrack for the first one beats the soundtrack of the second one. I can't tell you a single song
Okay.
from this one, but What's Up Danger? Stinking love that song.
Okay, but I don't think you realize how many times you've had to hear Sunflower played by your. Oh my goodness. Oh, my brother went
By
on
your
like a
what? Your brother?
7. It was like an 8-month phase with. Oh my goodness.
Innocent say I keep a check. But
Oh
no,
man. Okay.
I'm a bigger fan of the first one.
Post Malone bought a Pokemon card. You guys know that?
Bringing it full circle. And he bought the ring.
From a trilogy.
Anything else to say?
No, but let's go see Dune.
Been a great start to season 2.
It has. Hopefully we can keep it up at a relatively not slow pace. It's always always awesome. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Same, man. This is such a highlight for me. It's really a blast.
For real, for real.
No cap.
Thank you all for listening. And until next time, we are the Monkeys, and talking about movies is our business.